Meet Comdex. Comdex is a decentralized synthetics protocol in the Cosmos ecosystem. Comdex enables its users to create and exchange synthetic assets using their Cosmos ecosystem holdings. These synthetic assets open the door to limitless global accessibility and liquidity, democratizing finance by bridging DeFi and CeFi. Meet Comdex. Comdex is a decentralized synthetics protocol in the Cosmos ecosystem. Comdex enables its users to create and exchange synthetic assets using their Cosmos ecosystem holdings. These synthetic assets open the door to limitless global accessibility and liquidity, democratizing finance by bridging DeFi and CeFi. Meet Comdex. Comdex is a decentralized synthetics protocol in the Cosmos ecosystem. Comdex enables its users to create and exchange synthetic assets using their Cosmos ecosystem holdings. These synthetic assets open the door to limitless global accessibility and liquidity, democratizing finance by bridging DeFi and CeFi. Meet Comdex. Comdex is a decentralized synthetics protocol in the Cosmos ecosystem. Comdex enables its users to create and exchange synthetic assets using their Cosmos ecosystem holdings. These synthetic assets open the door to limitless global accessibility and liquidity, democratizing finance by bridging DeFi and CeFi.
Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to everyone who's present here. We'll just wait a couple moments more, allow more people to join, and then I'll just get started. But very excited to have everyone here. Thank you so much for joining. I can see a few folks in the chat getting involved. Hey, everyone. Hey, Vedad, Robert, Samuel, Jeff, Surinder, Chidima, Dave. Hey, everyone. Hello, welcome. Great. I think we can get started. So great. Thank you everyone who has joined us today here. This is a very special occasion for us at Comdex. It's the mainnet launch party. For those of you that don't know, our mainnet has now gone live as of a few minutes ago. It's a huge step in our journey as what we're doing here at Comdex. And we're excited that all of you have chosen to join us here this evening and celebrate this occasion with us. For those of you that don't know, I am Siddharth. I lead Comdex as COO. And with Comdex, we're building the decentralized synthetics protocol on Cosmos. And for those of you that would know about us, you know, Comdex has been part of the ecosystem and building since 2018. We launched and we started our journey by building the enterprise trading platform in 2018. What we were doing there was solving the problems of traditional commodities trade, which is a $17 trillion industry. From then, it has been a very long journey for us. We've come through many different hoops and hurdles and gotten to where we are today. And it's a very proud moment for me and for us as a team to be here today amongst everyone who's present here, and also all the honorable panelists that we'll be having joining us this evening. In terms of where Comdex is today, when I look back and reflect to where it started and where we are today, it's almost like a symbolic transformation for what Comdex has been through. When we started off in 2018, our aim was simple. It was to revolutionize what was the commodities trade industry at that point. However, going deeper into the journey, we realized that the industry is, you know, far deeper than what it appears, and the problems that we were able to identify in this industry transcend the industry alone and go into several industries. And that's when we decided that our approach as a solution has to be not just focused to one industry, but to solving the core problem with an interoperable ecosystem of solutions that we'll be building out in our journey. So where we are today is symbolic because the synthetics protocol marks the beginning of our next chapter. You know, we now embark on a journey where we truly start to fulfill the aims and the dreams we started building Comdex with. And in all of that, in the context of everything that has happened in the Comdex journey, today is a very huge occasion for us and for everyone who's been involved in our journey until now. Today, I mean, joining us, we have a very decorated panel of speakers and, you know, experts and industry thought leaders. These are folks who've been around the space and have experienced and made, you know, a big name for themselves through the things they've done. And it's an honor to have them present here today to share what their thoughts are on what's going on in the ecosystem and where they can see it going, and also to find out what role they play in all of this. As you know, Comdex itself has been part of the Cosmos ecosystem, has been around for a couple of years, more than a couple of years now. And at the heart of what we have set out to achieve, or the heart of what we have set out to build now, is interoperability. We believe that the way to tackle or to truly democratize finances by having an interoperable ecosystem of solutions that are able to bridge the booming space of DeFi with the traditional space of CeFi, which has tremendous headroom yet to be tapped through digitization and technology. And in the center of all of our mission and our vision to achieve everything that we're doing, Cosmos has played a huge role for us in, you know, enabling us to do the things we do. And therefore, even in terms of the journey of what Cosmos has been through, we're going through a very interesting phase in what Cosmos has been about and where it's going to head into the future, with so many developments in the recent times, with the launch of osmosis and dexes like Emeris, and with the beginning of the DeFi revolution, as I want to call it, and the Cosmos ecosystem. Truly, I think there couldn't be a better time for us to begin this journey. And as I said before, very excited that we're here today and celebrating such a huge occasion for us on this day. Although it's a huge day, it's a huge milestone, and, you know, it feels like a tremendous achievement to get where we have gotten. we're firmly aware that this is just the beginning, and there is so many things left to be done for Comdex, and so many things yet to come in our journey as we progress. We're, as I said before, we aim to build an ecosystem of solutions that's interoperable. For most of the folks that follow Comdex would know that we'll be having ShipFi, which is our own DApp, launching later next year, where we'll be focusing on commodities-based debt and real-world debt assets of commodities and trade finance receivables. Going forward, we want to continue democratizing finance as we go along, build more and more dApps in our ecosystem, build more and more dApps as we go along, where more and more of the traditional finance world, or the CeFi world, or the centralized finance world, as we call it, can be bridged to DeFi. And that's where we believe the real opportunity lies for true democratization of finance. And that's what we strive to build and work towards every day. So without going much, without further ado, I would love to get the events started. I know a lot of you folks would be excited to hear about all the things that our panelists will have to share with you today. Up next, we have a quick word from our CEO, Abhishek, who will join us shortly and talk about what we've been up to with Comdex and what we've been doing. For those of you that don't know, Abhishek Singh leads Comdex as CEO. He has a very rich background in trade, in traditional finance, in crypto, and in technology as well. He's a technologist with huge experience building solutions, and we as a team are great to have him lead us, and super excited for everything that's coming up for Comdex and for the Cosmos ecosystem as a whole. So I think without much further ado, we'll get the event started and get the party going. A quick note to the folks: we'll have breaks throughout the event today, so feel free to drop by the booths that we have set up for other projects here and have a chat with the folks who are at the booth. And feel free to join us in the community chat and in the chat here to ask your questions as well. We'll have folks from our team answering your questions as we go along. Thank you so much, and excited for everything that's coming today.
कुछ ज्यादा ही ऊपर नहीं है कब ज्वाइन करना है मुझे या वी कैन हियर यू कौन बोल रहा है Hi everyone. Great. It's great to be live. Thank you all for coming. I know it's a weekend, and a lot of you are probably enjoying your time. But I really thank all of you to join this launch party that we have. It's a really exciting day because the chain has been live for 40 minutes now. We'll soon be begin the delegation activities as well. It's a huge milestone for us today that the chain has finally become live. And of course, I want to thank all the validators who helped achieve this milestone today. Siddharth just did a session with you, but wanted to from my end tell you how the journey has been like over the last few years. So we started in 2018 with our enterprise trading platform, which was more focused towards a supply chain model for commodities trade, which happens over ships. So we focused on tokenizing bills of lading and onboarded 18 organizations across Southeast Asia. Uh, then, further in our journey, we realized, all these people would need a lot of financing, and that is why we came up with the Synthetics protocol, so that a lot of DeFi capital can move into commodities where they can finance trade, finance debt, and historically, which has been a very safe asset class. It's a 1400-year-old industry. So although we don't see very high returns, unlike what everyone's used to now in the DeFi space, but it's been a very different journey. We started with I am an engineer by trade, so it was a very challenging time for me. Initially when I started learning about commodities trade and trade finance in general. But the more I learned it, the more I was convicted that this is the solution that has to be built on chain, and it will solve so many problems of trust and efficiency, which kind of we already do with the enterprise platform. And we just want to take this journey forward over the next few years, where we aim to develop all the solutions of supply chain and trade financing to be built on our own chain. The overall dream would be that the capital from both these ecosystems are able to flow seamlessly between each other. So thank you guys. These have so great comments as well. So it's riding along the Cosmos wave. We are also huge proponents of interoperability, and the whole protocol is being designed so that more number of assets from the whole ecosystem can now be used to be used as collateral. And we are very happy with with Terra's Columbus 5 upgrade, and they becoming interoperable as well. Cosmos ecosystem has finally got a stable coin as well, to be used in DeFi ecosystems. And this is like a landmark thing as well, where this will really push DeFi in the whole of ecosystem and really increase adoption. now, Oh, is there a potential problem with regulations? Yes, so, very common question now being asked with with few companies now being asked questions, but it's something what I believe. Whenever something revolutionizing comes to the picture, there's always a few things, a few hurdles that need to be crossed. And I'm very confident that in the future, it's such a huge thing that, it would never be stopped in the future. And synthetics in general, right? They got created not because if you look at futures market in the real world, it's primarily used to hedge real world positions, or traders who are having huge volumes and they want to protect themselves from price volatility. So creating a synthetics protocol, for commodities or for the ecosystem in general, it's a natural progression of things as finance becomes more ingrained into the new in the Web3 world. So and it kind of if it opens up a lot of possibilities, because when you look at trade finance across the world, there's a lot of differences in interest rates, etc. Of course, it boils down to how this kind of eliminates itself, and this where the enterprise platform kind of shine through. And once the risk is gone, we truly it becomes democratized, where we kind of see uh, an equilibrium being reached of interest rates, of trading things. Most of the people who are involved in the in the whole of supply chain finance are so reliant on credit, that this kind of becomes a natural product for the DeFi ecosystem, where most of the the capital that's being generated in the crypto ecosystem can then be deployed in the real world, where most of DeFi projects will not be able to sustain the kind of returns that are being generated. But end of day, if something is backed by the real world, no matter what the market conditions are, the return would still be inflation beating at the very least. So this has been what we've been doing both on the CeFi and DeFi side. We're entering more into the DeFi space, where with ShipFi we will try to enable all the crypto users, beginning with the Cosmos ecosystem, and in the future we will have integrations with other Ethereum, Solana, etc., and get this capital be deployed into real world debt. The way forward after mainnet launch, what are we to expect next after this? So we will be seeing an application launch on the testnet, hopefully sometime in January, which will be given to audit in parallel, and a bug bounty will also be initiated for all the users to test it out as well. So this is why we'll be continuously running and upgrading our testnet. And soon you should be seeing a lot of activity on the testnet itself. Once the audit gets passed, we will be doing a mainnet launch post that, depending on how long that takes. So yeah, this is the short, in the near future, and in the longer term, we will for sure see ShipFi. Because in the world in general, stable coins are seeing a lot of adoption as well, where a lot of traditional companies are now started to accept stablecoin, which was like one of the very big factors which was preventing us to launch settlement initially when we started in 18. So we're very bullish on the future, where a lot of things can be without converting to fiat. You should be able to grow your money from real world assets as well. So with the DeFi booming, I think in trade finance and commodities, it's a huge gap. About after post-COVID, it's north of 3.4 trillion. So this industry, we would love to see more players coming in, and trying to work on more solutions, because it's such a huge industry. We see there's a lot of space for new entrants to be starting up something similar as well. It's a huge thing for us to start the mainnet today. I really want to thank my team, who's made it possible. The last few months have been very kind of stressful, but congratulations to everyone who was part of the team and part of the journey for the last 2-3 years. I know a lot of people have been involved in getting Comdex to where it is today. Thanks to our folks over at Persistence as well. Really very, very challenging to be here without the help and support of you guys. Yep. So we have a huge set of a great set of panelists joining and discussing about Comdex and whatever their views about DeFi, CeFi are. And the first panel is going to be the rise of DeFi in the Cosmos ecosystem, and we will be seeing Tushar, Jaser, Adriana, and Greg from Akash speaking about it, and Liam, confident in crypto, who's explained the Comdex much better than I do in his videos. He would be moderating the panel as well. So, looking forward for a great set of discussions. Thank you all very much.
Meet Comdex. Comdex is a decentralized synthetics protocol in the Cosmos ecosystem. Comdex enables its users to create and exchange synthetic assets using their Cosmos ecosystem holdings. These synthetic assets open the door to limitless global accessibility and liquidity, democratizing finance by bridging DeFi and CeFi.
Right then. Okay, so we're live by the looks of things. So yeah, I hope everyone's enjoying the conference so far, or the event, Comdex Mainnet launch party. So we've got a DeFi panel today. We're doing a discussion on the DeFi sector within Cosmos, and I'm joined by quite a few people today. So we've got Tushar from Persistence, Greg from Akash, and Adriana from Calpatech. So first of all, if you guys can just introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, the projects that you're working for, and what your role is. If we can start with Tushar, maybe.
Sure. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Persistence. We're a Tendermint-based protocol and powering different kinds of use cases across the board, from liquid staking to interoperable NFTs, and also working very closely with Comdex on synthetic commodities.
Perfect. And Greg, what do you do at Akash?
My name is Greg Osuri. I'm the founder for Akash Network. Akash is a decentralized cloud infrastructure network. It's essentially a marketplace for cloud-grade compute that offers compute in an open and permissionless way to a price point that's market-driven, usually anywhere from 1/5 to 1/3 to what you would pay on the market. And I lead the project in all forms, development and non-development activities.
Perfect. And then last of all, yourself, Adriana.
Yeah, sure. So, hi, I'm Adriana. I'm the current director of marketing and community at Tendermint. I have been in this space for over 5 years now. I have gone through several roles, from community advocate to the current full-time role at Tendermint. For those who don't know, Tendermint is one of the core contributors of the Cosmos network. It has been founded in 2014 by Jay and later Ethan. We have been the company who has built the core components of what we are seeing today, everything from Tendermint BFT to Cosmos SDK and IPC. And in terms of marketing, we are currently focusing on several contributors throughout the Cosmos ecosystem in various domains like marketing, community, branding, communication, co-marketing, administration of social channels, PR, different marketing initiatives, events, community growth, and community management. And in terms of like Tendermint as a company, we also are contributors in other various domains like engineering, ecosystem development, and also design. So yeah, glad to be here. Thank you for the invite.
No problem. Excellent. We've got a really good panel today. I'm glad I can be here with some of the forward-thinking minds in the Cosmos space. So that's excellent. And you know, speaking of Cosmos, we've just seen the ecosystem develop so much, right, since the launch of IBC, like you mentioned there, Adriana. And we've actually just come so far in terms of what's being built, what's being pushed forward, and the innovation. So I wanted to ask each of you, how has the ecosystem evolved since you first got involved in the Cosmos space? And maybe we can start with you, Greg, first of all. What are your thoughts on how the ecosystem is developing?
Quite rapidly, actually. We at Akash started working with Cosmos in some form of shape in 2017 with Tendermint. It was a library essentially a library that you could drop in to a project that you're working on, and essentially get all the consensus level, level stuff, which is usually hard part of building the blockchain handle for you, right? And we kind of were this is the time when Cosmos SDK did not exist. It was just purely Tendermint. And in the past, I would say 3 years, the SDK came around the Tendermint, library and sprawled into this mega ecosystem that we are seeing today. And what is, the combined market cap of Cosmos Change is, I believe, close to, don't quote me on this, close to $1 trillion now, right? So this was essentially non-existent 3 years ago. So that tells quite a bit about Cosmos. And I really like, one of the amazing things that I admire about the ecosystem is the pace at which the development happens, right? So when we began, it was a very basic bare bone project, and the modular system Cosmos SDK has kind of created this amazing way for community to start contributing and developing these different modules, where if somebody develops a module, a project develops a module that they think is useful, another project can pick that module up and use it, right? Like, we have modules like staking that allows staking across different Cosmos chains with similar mechanics, or like account management or banking management, right? So over time, these modules became quite a bit, and you can pretty much find any module that you want, that you can just pick it up from open source and use it. I think that was one of the core tenets of the growth we're seeing with Cosmos. Overall, we kind of, we were kind of divergent till about 2019, building our own modules, but then we switched over to the Cosmos SDK in 2019, and it's been one of the best sort of like decisions we ever made. And one of the things that stands out about Cosmos is the sovereignty that we get, unlike other shared state chains, right? So shared state chains like Ethereum and Solana are phenomenal for developing rapidly, but once you reach a certain scalability threshold, you certainly need that sovereignty that Cosmos provides. So the ability to have sovereignty and the ability to develop in a modular manner is what I think sprawled this incredible ecosystem. And with 2021, we had the IBC that essentially went live. And that changed the game for a lot of the Cosmos projects, beginning with immediate benefits we saw were liquidity provisioning across different chains, with persistence, with osmosis, with several other, with SwiftChain, several other projects that started optimizing liquidity for Cosmos ecosystem projects, which was kind of non-existent because because of lack of support from the mainstream community, I suppose. So this is just one example of what interoperability can do, and I'm really excited what the future brings along. Especially in terms of the Web3, the DWeb, the NFT space we're seeing, the gaming space we're seeing. I think Cosmos is just sprawling into amazing areas that I'm really excited to be here.
Absolutely. And it has come such a long way in terms of the amount of chains connected, the value locked into these chains, and so on. What's your perspective, Adriana, on that, from Tendermint, but also just from the validator side as well? How have you seen the ecosystem expand over the months and years that you've been involved?
Yeah, for sure. So if I were to look at my Cosmos journey, this has been such a beautiful and amazing one. I have actually started my Cosmos experience back in 2017 with the Cosmos white paper, which came first to life. And if you think of how the Cosmos environment, or how the industry environment looked back then, it was completely different to how it looks like right now. We were on a trend of like, you were either a Bitcoin fanatic or like an Ethereum kind of progressive mindset, and the idea of the multi-chain universe did not even exist back then. Cosmos was actually the first project to introduce the idea of the cross-chain universe and the multi-chain environment. And to be able to see that, I don't know, 5 years from, almost 5 years from then, you see that people and the industry are adopting this mindset as well. It definitely makes you feel like you have been pioneering this entire ecosystem with the vision that you have had early on. And to be able to see technologies which have been built throughout the years, like Tendermint BFT, Cosmos SDK, being the foundation of what exists now in the ecosystem, We see over 260 apps and services which are built in using this technology. And I believe we have over 40 mainnets live today, and the ecosystem growth is like over 165 billions in market cap, and this is only increasing from now, right? We have seen the exponential growth which IBC has brought into the space, and even though IBC is only like 8 months old, we have seen already 22 chains which have adopted IBC, and a lot of chains like Secret Network or Kava or Band Protocol have also announced their IBC future integrations. So this is only shows like the rapid growth of the ecosystem and how the technologies that we have built as an ecosystem together are beginning to be the de facto of technology in this space. And also together with IBC, we have seen so much growth in terms of like products and solutions which are being brought with the IBC enablement, such as decentralized exchanges like Osmosis, GravityDex, CeFi and others. We have seen liquid staking solutions emerge like bstake by Persistence. So Osmosis is also working on superfluid staking, and which is like a super interesting product as well. We have seen NFTs like Persistence is working on NFT standards, IrisNet, Bsong as well for music, Strange Clan. So all these various implementations are only emerging with bringing new use cases to what IBC protocol is today. And in terms of like ecosystem, we are only second behind Ethereum in terms of like market cap if we were to think of our ecosystem as one entire Cosmos network. Also, solutions like Starport, right, that allow you to easily build and launch any crypto app on your sovereign blockchain are the ones that are getting us closer to the vision of 1 million blockchains. Also, I believe what comes next is that developers and builders have started to realize the importance of being sovereign and having fast transactions, and also the possibility to communicate with other blockchains in this cross-chain universe. And I believe we will witness some migrations of apps from Ethereum, for example, to Cosmos, because Cosmos offers just that independence for all the builders. And also in terms of like interoperability, I believe that IBC will surely become the standard in this space, and we have seen other chains outside the ecosystem who are looking into solutions on how to use IBC and how to be able to build this cross-chain universe together with the Cosmos ecosystem. So I'm only excited of the road ahead, and I believe we're just started, and it's only like an exponential growth from here.
Yeah, I think I agree, with that. We're going to see more and more people building. And speaking of, people building, Tushar, Persistence is obviously built on top of the Tendermint consensus, and you're providing a lot of solutions for DeFi and NFTs and so on. So I was wondering, what are your thoughts on what the most key sort of developments are for the Cosmos ecosystem at the moment? What areas are the most exciting? And feel free to talk about how Persistence are doing, different parts of this as well.
Yeah, so to answer your question and to sort of build on Greg's point and Adriana's points, I think what's happening in a lot of other ecosystems is basically, whatever worked in Ethereum is sort of being recreated. Whereas I think the application chain specific nature of Cosmos, or the sovereignty of Cosmos, allows entrepreneurs or builders to do certain things which may not be possible in other ecosystems. So, having things like, having liquid staking where, you have, you're holding on to, say, SDK assets in the case of bstake, where your SDK assets are producing staking rewards, which can also be used simultaneously as collateral to facilitate borrowing lending. So you could have self-repaying loans just through staking rewards themselves. So your loans pay themselves. Umi is working on something like that. We are working on something like that as well. So now you have interesting, financial use cases as far as the DeFi vertical is concerned. But you have, see, fundamentally, finance remains the same. You have exchange of assets, you have asset issuance, you have exchange of assets, you have borrowing, lending, you have derivatives, you have insurance, you have, those are pretty much, you have passive investing through vaults and indexes. So those are pretty much, the same use cases across finance. But the application chain specific nature of Cosmos, proof of stake itself, creates some very interesting gamification ideas or narratives or products themselves. So I think that is something that is super exciting for me to see. So projects like Injective, Umi, P-Stake, I think it's super exciting to see use cases like that. And then on the NFT side, definitely super excited for everything. Again, essentially what most protocols are doing is kind of replicating what worked in Ethereum and creating sort of, some version of, ERC 721, or just enabling, ERC 721 assets to flow over to other chains. What Persistence is trying to do is sort of fundamentally reimagine that in terms of how do you create NFTs with fundamentally different metadata, or as the NFTs themselves become more complex, how do you capture ERC 721 can be pretty restrictive. It has become a standard, but it is pretty restrictive in terms of the kind of information that can be that can be depicted. So I think from that perspective, as Greg mentioned, the application chain specific or the sovereignty of Cosmos allows for that horizontal scaling, which allows builders to do things that are fundamentally not possible in other ecosystems. So that's something that I'm super excited about. Whether that's on the financial side or NFT side, ultimately it's about asset issuance, whether it's fungible tokens or non-fungible. I think that to me is what makes Cosmos super interesting and exciting.
Thank you. And yeah, we haven't got too long, and I really wanted to cover as well how we can sort of onboard more users into the ecosystem. But Greg, very quickly, did you have anything to add about the DeFi ecosystem in Cosmos and more about the infrastructure which is supporting these DeFi applications like Comdex, like Injective, and like all of these other chains?
I actually got a brilliant idea after listening to Tushar here. So one of the important parts of a self-paying loan using liquid staking is very interesting, because all of a sudden now you can create like DAOs that'll own infrastructure, that purchase infrastructure, actual hardware using let's say you have AKT and you collateralize AKT and a self-paying loan using AKT. So you essentially get free infrastructure that a DAO can own and will be paid off eventually because of the loan, and then you're just making profit running infrastructure. So things like these are like not unheard of in like traditional finance or traditional systems. So I think these are some of the exciting use cases I'd love to see in the near future. To add infrastructure is, as you know, I mean, decentralized finance needs decentralized structure. NFT, as a matter of fact, the notion that you're using a centralized infrastructure is just horrible, right? Akash is positioned well to provide that decentralized infrastructure. You can see applications like Strange Clan, or which is building an NFT game on Akash, or you can see Osmosis. They're running their RPC servers, eventually moving their front ends as well to Akash. And the reason for that is today we have a uncertain regulatory climate that's very hostile to anything DeFi and crypto, right? And the only way to really battle that is to offload liability from the protocol developers to the community. I call it offloading liability from the corporate to the common, because there is no escape from being a corporate. You will get approached, you will get censored, and you will get silenced, right? And it's already starting to happen. And so I think we're going to see quite a bit of that transition from the corporate to the common. And if you look at what something like Osmosis is doing, they have a DAO essentially that control the RPC servers or eventually control the front end. So if anyone wants changes in what assets Osmosis can list, can go through a governance proposal, and as long as the community is okay with it, the appropriate actions will be taken in terms of censorship or moderation. So I think like shifting that liability and the responsibility from the corporate to the common is possible when you have the infrastructure that can support that, and Akash network is there. So besides just DeFi, I think this innovation we're looking at across the board with infrastructure. You're seeing Akash and Sentinel providing the routing infrastructure and resolution infrastructure, right, through the integration with Handshake, and Akash providing the responding infrastructure, I call it. I think we're going to see quite a bit of interesting use cases in the coming few months and years.
Perfect. And we've got to kind of close things there. I just wanted, Adriana, maybe you can just summarize in 1 minute or so how we can kind of get these amazing DeFi applications to more users in DeFi and also beyond it. If you could maybe talk about that for about 1 minute, and then we'll have to leave things there.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, bit of a cold here. So in terms of like user adoption, I believe there are two key components to that. And one is ease of use, right? We have seen how the solutions like Tendermint BFT, Cosmos SDK, and IBC have become the standard in the space. But for them to be adopted, like when we talk about adoption, like mass adoption, and how we're able to transition users from traditional solutions to crypto solutions, we need to think of their user experience. And for them to understand how the blockchain space works and how they're able to actually use this space, we need to make this space as friendly as possible to them. Like for example, like Google, right? Google is a mass adoption product. No one knows exactly or wants to know exactly what happens with the search engine. They just need to know they have this amazing user interface that they can use, and they're most interested in the results of the usage. So I believe if we view the crypto space and the crypto products the same way and through a user perspective eye, we will understand that in order for us to get there, we will need to adapt our products to be as easy as possible to be used. And here I'm thinking about everything from wallets to portals to cross-chain solutions, like for example Yumi, or wallets which are designed for the cross-chain universe, like Kepler, or portals that kind of summarize all the applications and protocols in the same place, like for example the future of Ameris. And if we think about that, and if we think of how to make things easier from a user perspective, I think we're on a successful road to mass adoption. And also, as I mentioned before, cross-chain solutions are also the second key factor, which most likely will get us there, because we are already seeing the growth of the space, and how we've seen different explorers which show the activity of like different chains and different wallets that we can use for different chains. But as we grow, we will need to find ways to be able to offer users a seamless way for them to connect and use the solutions in one place. And the ones that I mentioned before, solutions like Kepler, like Ameris, like Yumi, will be able to offer that to the user. So I'm looking forward to see what comes out of this, and how we will be able to work together as an ecosystem to create these cross-chain solutions in the most easy way for users to adopt them.
Perfect. And yeah, thank you so much, all of you, for coming on. And I'm sure we'll find those ways to onboard as many users as possible. So thanks again. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Tushar. Thanks, Adriana. It's been a pleasure. And I hope the audience enjoyed this panel as well.
Thank you, Liam.
Thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you, Liam. And thank you all the guests here.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Should we start? Are we live?
Yes, I think we're live.
Okay, cool. So yeah, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us here. Also, big thanks and shout out to the Comdex team and everybody who organized this, put this together. I always love when the community comes together and all the different teams in Cosmos. I think that's something very, very unique about the Cosmonaut community and all the projects involved. So we just had the Cosmos conference in Lisbon, which was absolutely amazing. And there's a lot of familiar faces here on today's event as well. So yeah, really love this vibe in the Cosmos community. But yeah, we have a lot of faces here today. Also, a couple of new faces. So before we go into a couple of topics about your Cosmos journeys and your thoughts about certain things and also what you guys are working on, maybe who wants to start? Maybe Rudraj, can you start and give a little bit of introduction of yourself, what you work on, and some introductional thoughts.
Perfect. Again, a big shout out to the Comdex team for pulling us all together. And as Crypto Cedo said, a lot of familiar faces. I'm really glad to be here. So good to meet you, everyone. I'm Rudraj. I work with Persistence, and my official journey with crypto started out pretty much at the same time as it did with Persistence. Of course, apart from some exposure into crypto as a whole before that. And here at Persistence, I look at strategy, business development, and research, majorly on the proof of stake side, and talking about the liquid staking product that we have, there's P-Stake. For that, I look into mechanism designs and and look at the overall project management of sorts. So yeah, that is me. Good to be here, and thanks for having me on. Yeah.
Awesome. Maybe Dan, if you want to continue.
Yeah, thanks, Raj. I'm Dan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Exidio. And so you probably know the brand Sentinel represent. So Exidio is the development arm building on the Sentinel network. So you can think of us more as the company that's building the products and services that connect to Sentinel. And Sentinel is a DAO, right? Sentinel is a peer-to-peer marketplace for anyone to route traffic through someone else's node and get end-to-end encrypted VPN access. So decentralized VPN. And so my role at Exidio is a little bit of everything, put on a lot of different hats, check on development, help making with progress and project management for the products we're bringing to market. We have mobile applications that are getting launched ASAP this month. We have desktop applications that are getting launched next month. We have another desktop application we're launching for offering bandwidth to the network. So we're making it easy for consumers to be able to get access to decentralized VPN. And as the CEO, I'm helping with leading the development of these projects, leading hiring and managing people. And I'm also working with all of our external partnerships, and then also doing some of the communications and face. As Crypto Cedo mentioned, we had an awesome time at the conference at Cosmoverse, and it's really cool to see the whole Cosmos community come together. And I'm here for it.
Awesome. And then we have Seth here from Mind Your Biz, fellow crypto YouTuber. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and share your introduction.
Sure. So my name is Seth, but I go by the alias Mind Your Biz and run the website mindyour.biz, and then have the vertically integrated crypto brand Mind Your Biz. And started my crypto journey later than I would have liked to. I was aware of Bitcoin in 2013. It kind of made waves in the tech circles that I was working at the time. Worked very closely with the global master trainer team at Samsung Telecom USA, and did the new hire orientations for other people, mostly focused on sort of consumer technology, right? So with them, after that, worked the retail team for Google. After that, worked the retail channel partner team for Microsoft. And so it's kind of funny. Sometimes in my videos, there are still people who remember me as that guy that they saw in a tutorial video for when Windows 10 launched. And so I guess I'm working more towards the open source and cryptocurrency space as a form of penance for all of what I perceived as an evil in promoting centralized and maybe highly surveilled platforms. So, but I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm just here for the journey. Love seeing the biggest players sort of, like, we haven't been able to successfully pick winners, I think, over the last several years. It's been a question of building. And so I've enjoyed learning about Cosmos. First exposure was, I guess, in 2018. I started hearing about Tendermint as a protocol, as a consensus protocol, and as a potential successor or, complement to EVM style chains. And I've just been fascinated ever since. So appreciate you having me on the panel today.
Awesome, yeah. And Godswill just typed here in the chat, Cosmos is surely going to explode. Yes, it will, definitely. Also because there's a lot of projects coming up and they will all be interconnected through IBC. One of the big ones and everyone is anticipating, and there has been some giant news yesterday or the day before, is UMI, right? So Brent, glad to have you here. How is everything going? And yeah, for those that don't know you, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, certainly. And yeah, really great to see everyone here. Thanks, CryptoCito. Yeah, hey, everyone. So I'm Brent. I'm the founder of UMI. UMI is a cross-chain DeFi protocol that interconnects between the Cosmos and other blockchain ecosystems. And we're building out a suite of DeFi tools that can interact with the broader Money Legos ecosystem. And, as CryptoCito mentioned, we just announced the CoinList sale yesterday. Very exciting stuff. Prior to UMI, I was the head of strategy at Tendermint, helped build out the Cosmos ecosystem, and brought lots of projects like DEXs, built out IBC, and built out different bridge protocols. Prior to that, I was an early employee at Consensus, the software company. So joined Consensus when it was 30 people, helped build it from 30 to 1,200 in the early days. I was in some of the early meetings with Vitalik, Joe Lubin, my boss at the time, Heiko Hees, Andrew Keyes, early Ethereum folks from Coinbase and miners during the time of the DAO hack, and had a chance to listen to Vitalik's ETH 2.0 vision back then. He called it Serenity, and I'd say that's one of the reasons I like Cosmos so much, because he was pitching proof of stake back when Vitalik was like putting together these ideas. Jay Kwan was and Ethan Buckman were already talking to Vitalik, and in fact, Cosmos invented the concept of a bond validator, and they invented the concept of slashing conditions. And so these are all intermingled ideas with Ethereum and Cosmos. But just got to see a lot of the ups and downs of the crypto ecosystem. My first job at Consensus was we were like, oh, we need to get Ethereum listed on exchanges and stuff. So I put together documentation for helping facilitate that process. But prior to all this, I traded bonds, specialized in MBS products. I'd say that UMI's kind of an amalgamation of Ethereum DeFi, Cosmos proof of stake, and cross-chain, plus many concepts from the bond and debt world. And we're pretty much building the base layer DeFi protocol.
Excellent. Yeah, awesome. And I think we have one more person here, right? Siddharth, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, CryptoCito, and thank you all of you for joining us today. Most of you would know, actually, Chango was supposed to be joining us on this panel, but unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, we weren't able to have her on. But I'm confident in the future we'll have more such events where we'll have more folks from the Cosmos ecosystem speak, and I'll make sure we have Chango join us and attend, because we would all love to hear what she has to say about what we're about to talk about today. So just a bit about myself. I lead Comdex as COO. With Comdex, we're building a decentralized synthetics protocol on the Cosmos ecosystem. Prior to working with Comdex, before we started the synthetics protocol, we were doing the enterprise trade platform, which was facilitating real world commodities trade. That was my first sort of foray into the world of blockchain and crypto. But prior to working in crypto and blockchain, I have experience working in traditional finance. I've worked in wealth management in Canada, and I've also worked in an investment banking arm of a Big Four consulting firm in India. So it was my experience in the world of traditional finance and the realization of everything that's going on in the crypto ecosystem and the crypto space that sort of created the FOMO in me, that made me want to make the leap and jump to the good side, as I like to call it. So that's how I came here, and that's me.
Excellent. Yeah. And I think over the past few months, since Osmosis took IBC to the masses, basically, we've seen an explosion in demand. The community grew really fast, and overall, I feel like we're getting a little bit more hype with Cosmos. That's something we urgently need. but it has not always been like this, right? So maybe can all of you share in a few sentences, what is your Cosmos journey been so far? How did you stumble upon it? What got you hooked to say, hey, this is cool, I want to be part of the community, I want to build on it? You're all builders, right? And me and Seth, we're also content creators. So what is the thing that really got you hooked? And Brent, especially, maybe we can start with Brent, because you came from the core Ethereum part, right? And then kind of like you somehow got into Cosmos. So yeah, Brent, maybe share some thoughts on that.
Yeah, certainly. I got some perspective here. So I think one way to look at it is that, let's say Ethereum 2.0 failed, like it wasn't able to launch. You'd get this sort of like ETH 1.5 with like sharded execution environments. You'd have rollups, and then you have data availability, sort of this ETH 1.5 world connecting between a proof of work Ethereum with a proof of stake one. That's what Cosmos is. Cosmos is representative of that ecosystem. We have different zones, can be shards interconnected by IBC. We have a bridge that connects between a fast finality network with a probabilistic finality network in the form of different like gravity bridges. Cosmos represents that vision. And in my introduction earlier, I talked about how, when Vitalik was coming up with proof of stake, like they were talking with Jaquan and Ethan Buckman about all these ideas. And a lot of these proof of stake ideas originated with Jay and Ethan, and so that's why we see Cosmos built the way it is today. It's a functioning proof of stake protocol, and that's what I'm just extremely excited about, especially IBC, just best communication protocol in all of blockchain.
Awesome. And then Dan, in your case, it's also been really interesting because you guys have been also fully on Ethereum, and we're, I think, one of the first projects to migrate then completely over to Cosmos. So why was that the case? How did you find it, and how do you see the value proposition of Cosmos?
Yeah. So and it's also the journey of Sentinel and the Sentinel making the project, and also kind of my personal journey. I wasn't as deep into Ethereum as being like one of the earlier members at Consensus. But I've always been active in the crypto ecosystem, and I was very involved in Ethereum and EVM chains, and I'm still excited and hopeful for Ethereum 2.0 to launch. And I do think that a lot of the success that happens and grows within the blockchain ecosystem will eventually migrate its way over to Cosmos and connect to IBC. But Sentinel realized early on that it needed to get the protocol live and needed to bring it to market. And there were a lot of excited developers. I actually wasn't a part of the initial development team for Sentinel. I was always an early community member and big supporter and kind of community champion back at the end of 2017. And during that time in early 2018, once they got the protocol live, the early developers had doubts around the architecture and sustainability of being able to keep a ledger of all the different bandwidth providers that are offering their bandwidth to the network available on a ledger on Ethereum. So at that point, they were looking for different architectures and doing a lot of research into a lot of different layer ones, and found that the Tendermint consensus made a lot of sense, and that then they looked into the Cosmos SDK and realized that would be the proper chain for Sentinel to be able to have independence and to be able to have sustainability long term. So that was an early design mechanism decision that was made, I believe, in the first quarter of 2018, and had been building on Cosmos SDK for a long time. And Sentinel has been very active in the Cosmos community for a long time, participated in Game of Zones and Game of Stakes, and we've been award winners in both of those competitions, and bringing more robustness to Cosmos as IBC went live. So it's been a really amazing journey. And like you said, Cryptocito, it's kind of a long time coming to now see Osmosis and Gravity and CeFi Chain actually making this accessible to the world, and not just like a theoretical thing. So it's been really cool to see. And we've been really fortunate. We've been one of the most liquid and deep pools on some of these bigger dexes as well. So we're excited to see the whole ecosystem continue to grow.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think it's also an ideological thing that got a lot of people hooked. At least that's what brought me into Cosmos. It's like when I saw this rise of chain tribalism and maximalism, I'm like, man, this is most likely not the outcome of where crypto and blockchain and the whole DLT industry is headed. And before this call, we also talked briefly about this. So Seth, maybe you can share some thoughts, and if you can also relate it onto Cosmos, what are you kind of like interested in that ecosystem? And yeah, how do you view the whole thing?
Well, hey, first off, I appreciate again that you guys are having me on this stream. We have so many great builders, so I'll be brief because as a content creator, frankly, we're trying to expose the great work of builders. So, in a brief overview, the thing that has me most excited about Cosmos ecosystem and IBC is the extension of all of the value that was built before, right? So we're standing on the shoulders of giants, so to speak. Just heard Brent talk about some great builders in the space who are very well known, who've done transformative work in the space and rather very, very innovative work in the space that is now sort of the starting point for a lot of transformational work. And then hopefully we see, significant innovation on top, not just transformative work. And I think that IBC really does represent that in terms of making proof of stake consensus with high throughput a reality today, instead of having to wait again. I built my content channel on proof of work mining content, and primarily GPU mining content, which of course spoke very directly to the Ethereum community. And so kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Where we keep hearing announcements of, as was mentioned before, Serenity, and then it finally got a name of Ethereum 2.0. And then we were told, it's coming. So miners, you're on notice. We're going to start cutting rewards, and we've got all these other mechanisms to wean ourselves from proof of work. And for my part, it's been enough advanced warning that those of us who've been focused on proof of work, we've sort of realized, okay, we may be able to continue this as a business pursuit. We may be able to continue this even at scale as a business pursuit, but we kind of have to face the realities that there are other options. That whether or not, I don't want to get political about it, whether or not you believe the narratives about conservation and the ecological superiority of proof of work versus proof of stake, don't want to go there. But regardless of your views there, if you're involved in proof of work, you have to respect the fact that proof of stake is established and working now. And the builders that we have on stage here, they're just proof of that. So yeah, it's affected my content stream in a significant way to just have to pivot and realize, okay, if I want to highlight significant innovative work that transforms some of the best that blockchain and DLT has had to offer to date, I have to focus on Cosmos. I have to focus on IBC. Like, even if I didn't want to, logically, I'm forced to. There's really no other place that I can go to find the same level of innovation. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and I think proof of stake is a reality. So is also IBC and interoperability. And I think that's also the next big thing in the whole industry, because we need seamless connections between ecosystems. We only have, unfortunately, 1.5 minutes left. So I'll do a quick question for both Rudraj and Siddharth. What do you guys think? What is the kind of like, where's the most innovation going to happen within the Cosmos ecosystem over the next, say, 3-6 months? And I know you both are working in distinct fields, so maybe you can share some insights on that.
I'll make it very quick because I want Rudraj to speak about liquid staking as well, which is part of my answer to your question. In terms of all the big things that's going on in Cosmos since I have joined, I've kind of actually lived it through other people, through other builders that I've known and seen their journey of what they've built. And that's been my early experience of how I experienced what has happened in the Cosmos ecosystem. And when earlier this year we embarked on this journey of building the Synthetics protocol, getting involved in the Cosmos ecosystems ourselves fully. That's when I started to truly experience what this ecosystem holds. And there's a lot of headroom to be tapped into with everything that's yet to come. But this year has been tremendous for Cosmos and everything that's come, and it has been driven by projects like Persistence, which Rudraj will shortly talk about, I'm sure, with what they're doing with liquid staking. This is what's going to drive revolution and innovation in the space. So Rudraj, I would love to hear about it from you as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Siddharth. Yeah, so in terms of the innovation happening within the Cosmos ecosystem, the question really, targeting innovation happening in a particular front really, undermines the overall innovation happening, and not just at the app layer, but at the underlying protocol layer itself, where, in the conference also, there were so many interesting talks about interchain security, interchain accounts, and chain registry, and a bunch of other protocol layer technology innovations that are essentially going to drive innovation on top of it. And coming to the app layer itself, again, a bunch of innovations happening on different fronts. Let's say with AMM, we have Osmosis wonderfully driving user experience of the interchain ecosystem growing within Cosmos. Gravity Dex has been beautifully, doing with the model of equivalent swap pricing model against the CPMM. Something, again, as Siddharth mentioned, that is particularly interesting to me and at Persistence is liquid staking, because there's just so many different thought channels as to what would work and what wouldn't, or what is the most optimum way to go about it. So there's native liquid staking that is, issuing derivatives at the chain layer itself. That's something that Umi has adopted with the Me token. So that they're building, and there's the standard staking derivatives that are issued at the app layer. That is something that pStake is doing, and broadly live for Atom and XPRT. And then again, there's superfluid staking, which is kind of an opposite way to what staking derivatives do, and make people participate in DeFi first and then participate in staking. So there's just so many thought channels, and it'll be really interesting to see how all of these innovations that are currently happening, in sort of a disjoint manner, would come together and maybe evolve into a solution that gives out the most optimal value for the ecosystem as a whole. So yeah, that is about liquid staking. But apart from that, a bunch of innovation happening on many different fronts. On the NFT side as well, especially with after IBC has materialized after a long while when it was under development. Inter NFT standards that are being developed, clubbed with the lower fees and the higher TPS and IBC within the ecosystem, all of this clubbed together is gonna give rise to a whole new bunch of use cases that have not been seen yet. So yeah, really excited to see all of these materializing slowly, and in next 3 or 6 months, not just that, but next coming years are going to be explosive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I highly recommend everybody to check out Abhitej's presentation at Cosmoverse, which you can find on my YouTube channel, CryptoCito, but also on DeFi Times or the Omniflix channel, which is right after Sunny's presentation about superfluid staking. So it's really funny to see their kind of how they play together, or different views on the topic, which is very interesting. Very last questions, we have to wrap it up, unfortunately, is for Brent. I can't let you go without asking you this, because CMDX is doing an airdrop, Sentinel is doing an airdrop or a hodl drop. Persistence did one. Brent, tell us, is there an airdrop?
Soon.
Okay. All right. Soon. All right. So stay tuned, I guess. Follow all the channels, also from all the speakers here on this panel today. And yeah, thanks again to the Comdex team for having us on. I think this was really productive, even though it was pretty short. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone being here. And yeah, I'll see you on some other occasion in the future.
Thank you
for having us
for joining
us again.
Thanks, audience.
Thanks, Crypto.
Airdrop season.
Thanks.
Hey guys, I think we're live. We'll just do a quick sound check. Starting with you, Marcus.
Sound check.
Oh, good. Martin.
Hi everyone.
Hey Martin. Hey Evan.
Hey guys. Works.
Great to be here, guys. It's very nice to have a very diverse panel here. So I will be moderating this panel, and we will be discussing what are the challenges CeFi and TradFi are facing, and how DeFi is the future. And we have Marcus from Bridge Tower Capital. He's been in the space for quite some time. Knows is very knowledgeable about regulations in Switzerland, and been involved in STOs as well. Martin here is co-founder in T-Grade, who is doing institutional DeFi, focused primarily on Europe as well. And Evan, has been part of the Comdex journey as well, and now would be leading ShipFi, which will be our flagship product as well. So we have we had Jack Zampolin to join us as well, who just confirmed from the team. Oh, I think Jack won't be able to make it, so I think I'll be the one to represent DeFi here as well. So we'll begin the discussion shortly. But guys, if you want to do a quick introductions about yourselves, so we'll go in the same order again. So Marcus, if you would like to give a brief intro.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. And first of all, right, congratulations to the successful launch.
Thanks a lot, Marcus.
It always feels so special to give birth more or less to a new blockchain. It's really a launch party and a moment to celebrate. So thanks for everything. Quick background, Marcus, CEO of Bridge Tower Capital. Bridge Tower is a global private equity firm. With switching from equity investments to token investments, we realized we need to run validator nodes. So we're currently supporting a lot of Cosmos-based blockchains and some of the minor other ones like Ethereum and Solana and so on. And we're also doing our third pillar is we're calling it private activities. So we are very often helping foundations to do real-world business at the end. Helium is a great example. We are now we have a strong relationship to the Helium Foundation, and we are now helping them to manufacture helium miners in Brazil. And we're also supporting a coordinated rollout all over Latin America. And we liked it a lot, helping these Web 3.0 companies getting more real-world traction. And one of the latest achievements was also Bridge Tower is now a cash compute provider out of Switzerland, completely with renewable energy, and we are super happy to support the whole Web 3.0 industry at the end with compute power. And last but not least, we also Bridge Tower is also now a Comdex validator node, also here from Switzerland, renewable energy, and we are super happy to support this great project.
Great. Thanks a lot, Marcus. Really kind to hear. Martin, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. First of all, again, congratulations on the launch of the project. I know launching a project is never easy. There's a lot of hard work that goes in the background. A lot of last-minute panics, and it all looks really smooth when the first block gets produced, and the chain begins its life. But congratulations! I know you've all been working really hard to get this achieved. So, well done, team. Abhishek is particular of leading them to success. So congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you, Martin. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So, bit of background about who I am. I did 30 years in capital markets and technology before finding the blockchain in 2017. It feels like a bit like confessing to being an alcoholic or something, that I worked in finance previously, but I saw the errors of my ways, and blockchain is definitely where I want to be. I love the community, I love the innovation going on, and I'm really, really excited about projects, obviously like Comdex, like the ones we're working on, what you're doing at Bridge Tower. They're all really, really important things, and there's a great future happening, and we're part of shaping it now. So, so my journey in the blockchain has been various different companies. Some were shorter than others, like funding doesn't happen, then you disappear. You have to start again, pivot, find another way. And so it's been a hustle. But in 2020, in July, I co-founded Confio with Ethan Frey and Simon Water. And we had this great idea about T-Grade, which is our own self-sovereign blockchain that is going to be bridging traditional finance and the mad world of DeFi. So we're trying to create frameworks to make all this happen. So that's who I am.
Thanks a lot, Martin. Evan, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Sure. So first off, I mean, Abhishek, amazing job. You know, you and Sid are like family. I'm so proud of you guys. So I've been with Comdex in an advisory capacity very early days, right? I met a few folks in Singapore and we talked about blockchain as it pertains to trade finance, I think 2018. So that's when I got involved. I've been 15 years in commodities and trade finance. Done the hard work of commodity operations and worked on banking. I also run my own fund called Trade Credit Partners. I'll be working with the team to create ShipFi and also currently run the enterprise trading aspect, which I think will see a lot of very interesting synergies with the Synthetics protocol. So very excited for the future. And, you know, similar to Martin, and Marcus, very interested in how, you know, DeFi is going to play out in the real world. And also, I think it's very important as a mission that we bring some real world, you know, not real world, but, you know, normal traditional finance opportunities, right? So that there are, you know, so many interesting businesses that could benefit from this paradigm shift. And that's where I want to be.
Sounds great, Evan. To add to this, you know, Evan's a great teacher as well. So he's taught me and said a lot about trade finance and commodities over the last few years. So thanks a lot for that. It won't happen, you know, without your help. So continuing on that thought, Evan, you know, we've been seeing this for quite some time. Of course, we're seeing a lot more adoption now across various traditional companies as well. But what, in your opinion, is like holding, you know, a wider DeFi adoption amongst you know, traditional companies in general?
I think it's definitely entrenched interest. I mean, if I could, you know, bring it to one thing, right? Because so many companies benefit from centralization, right? And, you know, there is an inherent opaqueness that benefits a few people, right? If you talk about fund management, if you talk about commodity companies, right? I mean, just look at Cargill, right? It derives, you know, half of its, you know, bottom line from something called, you know, TSF, which is effectively a financial service, right? That you can offer to various companies in the commodity space. And what you do to access that market is you re-engineer trade flow. So when you talk about transparency, right, the lack of transparency actually benefits certain market participants. Right. So if we all want to take part in some of these enormous profits, right, and I think probably, you know, commodities and the hedge fund industry in particular have probably more billionaires per capita than anything, right? If we want to make this have a broader access can participate in that wealth, obviously, you know, some people are going to not really like that. So there's definitely going to be friction. Right. But I think all of us can say in a low interest rate environment, you know, we're not happy earning 5 basis points on our money. Right. So, you know, I think it's definitely coming. And I think the driving force is going to be people and also, obviously, the innovative technology that just cuts out middlemen and kind of ruthlessly, you know, reshapes the market.
Thank you, Evan. So you know, continuing on this, you know, when you actually try to you know, bring everything on chain, so you know, real world assets to chain. So the first challenge comes across that everybody comes across is the tokenization of you know, whatever industry you're in. So in trade finance, maybe the invoices or, you know, bills of lading. So Martin, would you you know, like to discuss how, you know, how are you at T-Grade, you know, you know, taking over this challenge of tokenizing the assets first, and then, you know, providing that movement?
So yeah, I definitely echo what was said before about entrenched interests, and you know, you do see quite a defensive move from the sell side. They've got big blockchain departments. They want to create garden walls. They want to create these permission systems to continue the status quo. And I think what people like us are doing, we're saying, well, no, this is wrong. We're going to do public. We're going to really undermine you. And I think they're just going to completely miss it. And it will be the buy side, the asset managers, the people actually, with investment portfolios that will navigate into the world of DeFi. And the sell side will look a bit stupid with their big garden walls that they can't do much with. So with that kind of background, it's not like I've got a war against the sell side and the investment banks, but we want to try and bring, these very large markets. There's thousands of trillions of dollars worth of business that goes on every year in traditional markets. How do we get some of that in blockchain? And coming from the industry is like the biggest blockers is really around regulations. You need some kind of order, some kind of regulations. And I know that's a really unpopular thing for people in the DeFi world, because the beauty of DeFi is you have a global liquidity pool. No one cares who you are. It's all beautifully automated. But we also know there's a dark side. When you see hundreds of millions being extracted through MEV and front running, that's not very fair, nor is inflating what the prices are on exchanges, etc. So there is, unfortunately, there is a side to humanity that cheats, and we're not going to get mass adoption if there's unruly markets where people are cheating. People just aren't going to be confident enough to invest. So when you draw those together, you've got the first piece is really around, like I said, the fairness, the kind of regulations, and I think it's up to us to really help shape those frameworks, help define what those regulations are. Not throw your head in the sand and say we're DeFi, normal world doesn't apply to us, because that's not going to go very far. Maybe you have another 5 years in it, but they really will clamp down. So important things really is to connect identity to a blockchain address, which may sound completely unpopular, but it's important. It's important because you can then demonstrate to regulators that you know who you're selling your stuff to. So if I've got a nice shiny binary options platform or some really toxic derivatives, I don't want to sell that to retail. Well, I could to make myself very wealthy, but it's not very good because it could take out everyone's savings and you're back to square one. People don't like what you're doing. And you get the same label as finance, which isn't very popular in some places. The bankers do get hounded in the press quite regularly. So we don't really want that to come into blockchain in the broader sense. So if we have that link to identity or blockchain address, we can then start saying, well, these investments are suitable. This is where the innovation can have. These are the frameworks you can work in. And then we can really get going on the smart contracts and start bringing real business in there and, take advantage of the peer-to-peer, take advantage of the whole landscape of DeFi, but in a controlled way that benefits the investors, and it gives some regulatory certainty as well to the protocols developing this innovation.
That's a very valid point. Linking identity, to addresses. But of course, I think if there were friendlier tax conditions there, majority of the DeFi users might end up, becoming verified or linking their identity as well. But I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but I can certainly understand how it's so relevant in the real world side, where every investment would need you to kind of disclose who you are. So yes, that's a very valid point. Marcus, a question for you would be, at Bridgetower, like you said, you were into equities, and then now you were into crypto investing. Now you're setting up infrastructure as well. What do you think, would be the most important infrastructure piece which is missing? In my opinion, along the lines of over collateralization, and like for example on Comdex Enterprise, if somebody wanted to hedge its position, on the synthetics protocol, or let's say for example, they would need a lot of capital for doing it. And they're used to having very good leverage from the centralized markets as well. What do you think? How would DeFi would tackle that issue?
Good question. Let me start differently. At the end, we all know that the growth software is eating the world, right? So blockchain and DeFi, it's all software. And I think what DeFi and blockchain is representing is process efficiency. So things are happening more efficient. And we're currently at the point that they are so efficient that the human who is interacting with it is struggling following everything. So to answer your question, what is, I think, I cannot answer your question in the long term. I can answer the question right now. And I think that the infrastructure piece currently missing is, I'm calling it reg tech, right? So all the regulation kind of tech, analyzing all the transactions, what is going where, and maybe even preventing it. So it's more like an assistant, a virtual assistance for institutions and more sophisticated users, helping them navigating and interacting with the DeFi space. We all know it, right? I think if you currently try to do something on the Ethereum DeFi side, it's really tricky. Lucky the Cosmos world is having osmosis, where we now have the half button and everything.
I love it. Yeah.
Usually it's complicated, and helping individuals and institutions to interact with this software, which is constantly changing and super complicating, plus helping them tracking everything and trying to prevent to do mistakes. I think this is at the moment the most important software, the most important infrastructure piece. And this is including, last but not least, also tracking your tax responsibilities, right? In different jurisdictions, for example, staking rewards are declared as more or less income, right? But normal exposure is capital gains. So it's really complicated to track and be tax compliant. And I think this is the missing infrastructure piece at the moment.
That's such a great point. Both the the education of the users themselves and the tax infrastructure. Really great points. On a similar note, Evan, I know you've been speaking to a lot of traditional funds and trying to onboard them over Shopify. So if you could give a sneak peek on how that would look in the future. I think we have like 2 minutes remaining, so if you would like to briefly explain.
Sure. So, happy to announce I did convince a fund for a personal investment to take a stable asset, right, as a subscription instrument, right? Also talk to CPAs about some of the tax stuff. So as far as stable instruments go, there isn't too much, right, that, a CPA can say that doesn't work the way a normal fiat investment would work. So that's the positive side, right? I think also, speaking with these funds, their investors would love access to crypto, right, or exposure to crypto. Now, the good thing about DeFi and what we're trying to do is this is just like a bonus, right, the DeFi exposure, right? So if you make a principal fund investment and you just have a bonus, right, to participate in the system through sharing of, the token, I think it will be adopted and people are going to be very receptive to it. But like what Marcus said, there's going to be a lot of hand holding, right? I mean, Abhishek, certainly you've held a lot of hands, right? I think now we have to, take it up, people like on this panel, right? Kind of the old timers, myself, included, that we have to show people how fun it is to use these products and, make people feel comfortable.
Absolutely. This makes so much sense. It certainly is challenging, for someone new to enter into DeFi. But very, very positive, of the future, and as more adoption takes place, I think we'll all be able to just do all the investments right from our wallets itself. So it was great, connecting with you guys. It's almost time. If there's anything you guys want to discuss, maybe you can take another minute. But Martin, would you like to have some closing comments?
Yeah, I think the main message really is blockchain is a fantastic community for collaborating. So we'll all work together on this. We'll all help define the regulations. We'll hit some headwinds quite often with vested interest, with regulators not understanding what we're doing. But I think the beauty of what we do collectively in the space is so powerful that we'll win in the end.
That's such a beautiful way to end this discussion. Thank you, Marcus. Thanks, Martin. Thanks a lot, Evan.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys soon. All right, thanks
Congratulations
everyone
again
for joining. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
This has been an exciting event. Very happy with everyone who has turned out, especially in the audience as well. Some really good questions asked, and I know probably we didn't get around to answering all of your questions to all the folks who are present here, but don't worry. Please just join us in our community chat, follow us on our Twitter, and ask us your questions, and we'll be there to attend. Before I close, a huge shout out to all the panelists who could join us today and made this event so special with their presence and sharing their views. It's an exciting time to be in this space, and it was a great honor to have all of you take some time out from what is a Saturday evening for some of you and Saturday morning for some of you to join us on this event today. And as I said a little earlier on, although the mainnet launch seems like a huge milestone in the journey we've done, and it seems like everything we've done is sort of built up to this point, we know there's a very long way to go ahead. We know there's so many things that we need to do as a project, and so many things that can be done to really democratize finance the way we want to do. And it can only be done with a strong, robust ecosystem like what Cosmos ecosystem has to offer, and with the kind of community that we've been fortunate to have so far with Comdex. The party is definitely not over. There's a lot of virtual booths that have been set up by all the projects and project founders who attended here today. So all of you guys who have questions for Comdex and for other projects as well, head over to the booths, spend some time talking to the team members there and get some insights about what's going on everywhere. In terms of everything that's going on at Comdex, the excitement isn't over. We know we did the airdrop very recently for Atom, XPRT, Luna, and Osmo holders and stakers. If you missed out on the airdrop, don't feel bad. There's plenty of more opportunities coming your way for ways you can earn CMDX and get involved with the journey that we're on. And as I said again, honored to have everyone here. Huge congratulations to the team who've been with us on this journey to build Comdex to bring it here. And I think at this time we can say Comdex is here, and the journey now starts from here onto the next chapter. So thank you everyone who joined us today. Hope all of you have a great weekend, and hope everyone's having healthy, safe, and happy. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye.